I can't think of anything that I enjoyed more than that.
Yeah.
I think because, I just met those guys, in the studio, in that basement, and the whole context of our relationship was built around that experience, and I came to really, really love all three of them. Great kids, and man, when we were done, we had something I think all of us were pretty proud of.
So that my dad was a musician, and now both of my older sons and my daughter and everybody has something in it. At least my one son Josh, I think he's probably going to play the drums. He's already like 5 years old. He was beating around on the player.
Nice.
The little tiny I don't know what Toys R Us set.
Yeah.
But
the common thread.
It's kind of a blessing and a curse in some way to be a musician.
Well, I know about that. We both know about that.
So when it comes to legacy, I have a niece also who's in it, and so when it comes to the legacy, you think about that. What legacy you want to hand down and carry on, and so words of wisdom to give to your kids in the music business and stuff. And, is this something that you really want to do, and why do you want to do it?
Yeah.
And I've had those conversations, with Chris and with my son Matt, and it's something that you have to do because you love to, I think, and not that you're looking for any enormous amount of compensation.
Yeah, I think there are some people who would disagree with me, but I'm pretty convinced that nobody chooses to be an artist or a musician. It happens because you have this innate desire to be that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, you make choices along the way to how actively you're going to pursue it or whatnot, but I never had a choice in becoming a musician. It was so natural to me. My earliest memories are of music and hearing music.
Mm-hmm. By hearing it in your head.
Oh yeah, I still have memories that are associated. I associate memories of people. My great-great-grandmother that I remember by songs that were popular at the time.
Mm. Yeah, it was the same for me. It started probably in church.
Yeah, right.
Going to church and singing, and that's why it started with singing. And
even those songs, yeah, they take you back. If I go to church on, I try to go to church. I don't go as often as I used to.
Yeah.
But when I do, and I hear one of those old hymns that I learned in Catholic school,
mm-hmm.
oh man, it takes me right back. It's funny, I didn't think about it then, but those songs, they touched me in a certain way, just melody-wise or whatnot.
I had my first case of stage fright when I was 7, when I was going to stand up in Sunday school and sing.
Yeah.
It was my voice. I don't know if I was imitating the older guys, and that's how I thought you should sing. So I was 7 years old, and I used to sing like, "Oh, beautiful," with this really deep voice, And so my grandmother said, "Stand up and sing. Mitch is going to sing this song." And I stood up, and everybody turned around and looked at me, and I got embarrassed, and I sat down.
Did you?
So that was my first performance, stage fright.
Well, I'm glad you got over that. 'Cause you got a lot of good stuff to share.
I don't know. I still, I think that's one of the things when you first step up on, you step out on stage. Everybody still feels that. At least I do. I still feel nervous before a show and have to unwind. So you work with Bill Toms and Hard Rain. You're in his band also.
Yeah.
Bill was on here last week, and I got a chance to listen to the live CD, and I really enjoyed that. That was really
good.
Great. And so, what other things have you got going on that people should know about? You have your own studio. I mean, that's probably,
yeah.
Is that something that you advertise, or is that something that?
I haven't, and actually, I just made a conscious decision a few weeks ago. I kind of made some. Well, I've been making updates continuously to the audio portion of the studio, but I just made some aesthetic updates, new carpet, and spruced the place up a little bit. And yeah, I'm ready to kind of start advertising and see what I can bring in. It's been a very selective thing for me up until now. Finding people like Bill Toms to work with, and that's why I was so lucky to meet your son in the Weathered Road and his band, and people like Rick Malice, who's a great songwriter. We did a project for Calliope and to celebrate Pittsburgh 250. So it's really nice having the luxury to just work on things that you truly love. But at the same time, you know, it's tough to be a musician, it's tough to pay the bills, and you never know what kind of good stuff you'll come across if I kind of open the doors a little bit. So
Yeah.
I think I'm going to delve into that a little bit. I hope it works out.
Yeah, well, I'm looking for my bailout for the stimulus plan for my studio.
Yeah, there you go.
So you know, one thing that I hear in your solo material is it's very roots oriented and very, you know, dealing with family and just very down to earth type of stuff. And you know, growing up in this last record you did with Unbroken Circle was based in the coalfields of West Virginia. That's something that you know, I'm very involved in right now. You know, the mountaintop removal and all that kind of stuff, what's happening down in West Virginia. Do you find?
Well, that's in that, you know, I don't know the exact statistic, but I think the company that is responsible for most of that is Massey Energy.
Yeah.
Which of course was a company that where we lost, what, 28 miners, I think, on their watch just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Or 29, I think.
Yeah.
How many miners died? 29?
I think it was 29, yeah. And so that type of, I guess, activism, you know, there's a lot of people. I just came from Cheap Fest, and there's a lot of people out there that are getting very upset about that whole thing, you know. And,
Yeah.
Have you found yourself doing anything like that type of, you know, shows or material to
Well, I've done a few shows for the United Mine Workers, different rallies, or at least I was at one rally. They're opening up, I think it's called Alpha Coal Company, which is the old Pittston Coal Company, which was responsible for the Buffalo Creek mine disaster in 1972, a flood that killed 125 people and left more than 4,000 homeless. And it was an event that I remember pretty well. But they're opening a mine near Waynesburg, and they've already announced that it's going to be a non-union mine. So I played a rally down in Clarksville with the United Mine Workers. Of course, they don't want that to happen. They want the option to be that the miners can choose for it to be a union mine. So I'm hoping that goes well, and I've lended my support in that area. It's a very, very complex issue in the state of West Virginia, where I do a lot of shows, or at least I have in the last several years. It's slowed down a bit. You know, I don't consider myself to be an activist, and you know, some people think that's a cop-out, but I can't jump into something 100% wholeheartedly unless I feel it. And it's such a complex issue that my family is not a mining family, and so I feel a little reluctant to wholeheartedly endorse something that might take away the job of you know, one of my fellow West Virginians, my mountaineers. And so it's such a touchy issue, but you know, what it boils down to in the end is right and wrong, and you know, certainly what they're doing to the landscape down there is just wrong. There's really no other way of looking at that. And if they're going to mine coal, there are so many questions about, you know, the use of coal as for energy anyway. There is no clean coal. You've heard that expression before. But if we're going to be using coal, and if that's going to happen, then you know, I wouldn't want to take the jobs away from any West Virginia miners, but it would really be nice if those who are mining the coal at least had the backing of the United Mine Workers. It would, you know, give them a little bit of security and safety.
Well, I hear you, because in this area, and you know, I wouldn't consider myself to be an activist, but I was also an environmental science major, and so I had an environmental background that but one of the things that it's always been about in this area is jobs. I mean, that's one of the things, whether it was steel workers' jobs, or mining jobs, or glass workers' jobs, or the jobs that just kept bleeding out of the area, and you can't